All right. Yes, have some?
Yes, have some.
Welcome to the Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAM, We are streaming live on YouTube, the YouTube channel, very simple, Nation of Jake, one word, Nation of Jake. You can catch up with me on Facebook, send me a message there, or on Twitter. You can tweet at me, at Nation of Jake, on both social media platforms. If you like photos, from time to time I will post those on the Instagram. Same handle, Nation of Jake, on this Thursday, August 22nd, year of our Lord 2019. Mostly cloudy, 88 degrees, high of 89, which is a big difference from what we've had the past week. No heat advisories, no excessive heat warnings. It's just a nice 89 degrees, chance of thunderstorms later this afternoon and evening. Hopefully it won't cut into my evening plans. My daughter has her first soccer game of this fall season. Looking forward to going and watching her play. It's a lot of fun to just watch the little ones, see if they're into it yet or not. You know, she played, the rec ball for a couple of seasons. She got real good and decided she wants to play competitive. And now the competition, of course, is a little bit better. And we're going to see if she really likes this. So tonight, I'm looking forward to getting out and doing that. So the next 2 hours, I'm just going to wish away. Just wish them away. It's going to be a weird show today. All right, I want it to go by fast, but I'm lacking a saga. All right, there's two kinds of stories when you do a news talk program like the Nation of Jake on The Voice. You've got your stories, and then you've got your sagas. But there's no real saga today. I mean, there's no big overarching headlines. All right, so that's the first reason that it's going to be a weird show today, just kind of disjointed. The other reason is because I spent most of the morning trying to solve my Rubik's Cube. That's maybe why I really haven't found a saga, and I just have a bunch of stories. I mean, I finished it. I finished the Rubik's Cube. My deal is this. I know how to do it. I want to know why to do it. You know what I'm saying? Kind of an existential question. Like, I know the moves. I know the strategy to solving the Rubik's Cube now. But now, as I do it, I'm trying to visualize. This is like my own self-imposed brain coaching. Yeah, I'm just trying to expand my mind without the use of hallucinogens. And I'm doing that with the Rubik's Cube. And I've solved it. I solved it last night. And then I did it again today. And now I'm going to have G-Man mess it up again. G-Man, come screw up this Rubik's Cube for me. And I'm going to redo it. I want to do it during the show, during the old commercials. All right, so that's kind of like the game within the game, the show within the show. Yeah, here, just mess that all up. Just take it back to you to really screw it up. I worked hard on that, dude. What are you doing? See? Don't listen to me. All right, so Rubik's Cube, the game within the game. I do have a list of the friendliest states. Friendliest states list. It's called the top 50 friendliest states. Well, that's all of them. So, but it ranks them from least friendly to most friendly. We'll find out where Tennessee ranks on the list of friendliest states. Is it time to rethink cannibalism? At least 5 young cannibals from the Newsweek believe so. You might want to call them fine young cannibals from Newsweek. They think we need to remove the taboo around cannibalism. That caught my eye as I was trying to solve the Rubik's Cube today. We'll also talk to Ron Hart, nationally syndicated columnist. He's got some thoughts on Joe Biden, the front runner in the 2020 Democrat presidential field, as well as the news cruise. I believe the headline in the news cruise is something to do with toxic algae in a Memphis park that could be claiming the lives of dogs. All right, so like I said, gonna be a bit of a strange show today. As I was going through the news, I was looking for the big stories. What's Donald Trump doing today? Is he offending anybody else from all over the world? Going to Denmark, deciding, no, I'm not going to go to Denmark because they won't sell Greenland to me. The folks over in Iceland, they're saying, we're not going to be in town when Mike Pence comes to town. So there's just kind of like international pettiness that's going on. I did read that the jobs reports from the past, year have all been revised down. So I guess the economy is not as good as everybody says. At least that seems to be every headline right now. is that Donald Trump's worried about the economy, all the tariffs, the trade war, the economy's not as good as everybody thinks, and now everybody's thinking the economy's not as good. They're going to act as such. Self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm kind of tired of all that. Oh, the Amazon rainforest is on fire. I think they say that the Amazon rainforest produces 20% of the Earth's oxygen and is referred to as the Earth's lungs. The lungs of the planet are on fire right now. So these are all stories, right? But what's the saga? Well, the one thing I was hoping was going to be a big saga was today, and we'll start with this. There was supposed to be some huge major announcement from the estate of Michael Jackson. That's right, the king of pop. A major announcement. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what's it going to be? Michael Jackson's estate is making a major announcement. And the first thing I thought, it's probably the first thing you thought. Michael Jackson's still alive. He faked his death. And now he's coming back 10 years later to clear his good name after the Finding Neverland documentary came out. And he's got proof that he didn't molest anybody. Well, that's not what the announcement was. However, it got off to a great start. His former manager, Michael Jackson's former manager, Raymond Bain, came out defending Michael Jackson against all those horrible allegations of child molestation, but she just couldn't get the words right. What? Oh my God, it's like listening to the Mueller report again, huh? It's like the Mueller hearings. Somebody's not guilty until they're proven innocent. It's like, wait, not exonerated? What was that? What? Oh my, it's just painful. But that wasn't it. That wasn't the big announcement. Here was the announcement. Imagine this, though. I just want to set the scene. You're a reporter. The estate of Michael Jackson, or his former manager, this Raymond Bain is her name. Major announcement regarding Michael Jackson. So you send a reporter out there. There's a room full of people. And they announce that they're establishing a foundation in Michael Jackson's name. That's the major announcement. I would be so mad. Michael Jackson's former manager has announced the establishment of the MJ Legacy Foundation while also defending the late singer against the recent allegations made in the controversial documentary Leaving Neverland. Raymond Bain was hired as Jackson's spokesman and general manager in 2006, and she also served as the president and COO of the Michael Jackson Company. During the press conference in D.C. today, which had earlier promised to be a major announcement, Bain announced the establishment of the MJ Legacy Foundation to preserve, protect, and defend his name while supporting the numerous organizations he supported during his life. That is not a major announcement. That's a press release. That's not a press conference, Raymond Bain. However, this is where it gets a little bit weird. I mean, it's Michael Jackson. Of course it's going to be weird, right? So, during the press conference, I guess they opened up for questions, and somebody asked about Michael Jackson's will. And Raymond Bain, shockingly, admitted she doesn't know where the will is. Raymond Bain says she does not have the will. She has she does not have the document. She doesn't know where it is. It's like, hold on a second. Michael Jackson, who left behind, I'm guessing a fortune, I'm guessing an estate, plenty of music, tons of music that has some value, doesn't have the will. She says, I have wished, I have hoped, I have prayed that Michael Jackson's will, dated October 6, 2006, would be found, revealed, discovered, dropped from the sky. Because in it, he painstakingly outlined how he wanted his legacy to be preserved and maintained. She went on to say that she would like to enlist Donald Trump to help find the will. She said that Michael Jackson thought the world of Trump, and he was one of the few people who never turned his back on him. Wow. I wonder if Donald Trump's in the will. She said, I'd love to be able to speak with the president and find Michael Jackson's 2006 will. That's so weird. Number one, the whole announcement of a foundation, which is not like a foundation to help children. It's not a foundation that's going to do anything other than defend the name of Michael Jackson. It's kind of goofy. And then the whole opening, she just kind of botched it. So that's that. I was hoping that would be the saga, man. I sat around all morning waiting for the big Michael Jackson announcement, playing with my Rubik's Cube is all screwed up now. I'll be working on this during the commercials. So yeah, that's really how this show's going to go today. It'll be all over the place. We do have the idea of rethinking cannibalism. I do want to get into that. There are some people, some fine young cannibals who think, eating other humans is probably okay, and we shouldn't be weird about eating each other. I'm not so sure I agree, but I'll hear it. Coming up, though, we have another mass shooting has been stopped, this time in California, where they have some of the toughest gun laws in the country. That said, even where they don't have tough gun laws, or let's say the most lenient, how easy is it to buy a weapon? Some would have you believe that it's as simple as going in and buying Sudafed. That's probably an exaggeration. In fact, there's a reporter who went to try and buy a gun from Walmart, and it's not as easy as you think. We're going to talk about that next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9, and AM 990.
When's the last time you looked at the windows in your house? Not through the windows, but at the windows. Really looked at them. There's dirt, streaks, buildup, smudges, fingerprints, paw prints, spider webs, dead bugs. There's little white speckles. I have no idea what they are, and who knows what else. Now, cleaning all the windows in your house makes a big difference, but it's also a big job. That's why you need Just Windows Home Services. Just Windows has been taking the pain out of window cleaning since 1992. Just Windows cleans all types of windows. Storm windows, screens, skylights, interior, exterior, upstairs and down. Now I know I told you the company is called Just Windows Home Services, but they do a lot more. Roof and gutter cleaning, pressure washing, mirrors, blinds, ceiling fans, light fixtures, chandeliers. Look, if you've got hard to reach areas of the house, then you need Just Windows Home Services. Call for a free estimate, 751-3934. That's 751-3934. Or get them online at justwindowsmemphis.com. That's justwindowsmemphis.com.
That's the number that could save you up to 30% on your energy bills. Call today and Service Experts Heating and Air Conditioning will hook you up with an AC tune-up. Right now, save $20 on an AC tune-up. Service Experts Heating and Air Conditioning, your hometown Memphis tune-up pros.
Call 866 Experts.
See website for license details.
When you walk into Annie Joe's Karaoke Cafe in Bartlett, everybody really does know your name, and you never meet a stranger. Annie Joe's Karaoke Cafe is a family-friendly place to have fun and serves a full menu, including Mexican-American dishes, all-day breakfast, and a great kids menu. With theme nights like Nifty 50s or love songs, they have something for everyone. Located at 5808 Stage Road, make Annie Joe's Karaoke Cafe your next stop for food, family, and fun.
Hi, this is Jim Shoemaker. Join me next Wednesday at 8 a.m. and again on Saturday at 9 a.m. with my special guest Shannon Dyson of Shoemaker Insurance Solutions and Frank Lacarica. We'll be talking about college funding and just what do you need when it comes to property and casualty. If you have questions for Talk Money, email them to talkmoney@Shoemaker Financial. That's Wednesday morning and again on Saturday at 9 a.m. on Talk Money, The Voice, KWAM 990 and FM 107.9.
Don't miss Maine and Mulberry Live every Thursday morning at 8 right here on KWAM The Voice. Maine and Mulberry Live explores the crossroads of modernization and small-town tradition, exemplified in Collierville, Tennessee. Host Keith Essery sits down with local entrepreneurs, thriving businesses, city officials, and thought leaders right here every Thursday at 8 a.m. Tune in and learn how a town comes of age with economic growth. Maine and Mulberry Live is brought to you by John Green and Company Realtors, building neighbors for 40 years.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. You're neutral to it, and you can hear it repeatedly without feeling anything. But when we introduce a new stimulus, save the food, we've achieved pulling a natural or inborn response from you. Save the food, because 40% of all food in the US never gets eaten. Save the food. Cook it, store it, share it. Just don't waste it. For tips and recipes, visit SaveTheFood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
Candid Conversations is on the air every Sunday at 2 p.m.
An abuser can seem emotionally needy. You can get caught in a trap of catering to him or her, so no matter how much you give him or her, it will never be enough. He will just keep coming up with more demands because he or she believes their needs are your responsibility.
Sunday afternoons at 2 p.m. with Dr. Rich and T.K. Carter here on KWAM.
Hey everyone, I'm your host Marie Pisano of the Finding My Yes radio show. We got a new talk show that interviews celebrities in film, music, TV, and some interesting people from Memphis to around the world. We even feature some music from emerging artists. Don't miss us Sundays at 4 p.m. right here on The Voice FM 107.9 and AM 990. Brought to you by ECT Go Heroic.
Wake up, Memphis, wake up. Tune in every Saturday at 2 p.m. to Wake Up Memphis from Beyond the Badge. To be informed of hard-hitting issues like public safety, police-community relations, and how your tax dollars are being spent. Join in on the conversation to share the facts. Sponsored by the men and women of the Memphis Police Association that protect this city every day. Remember, every Saturday, 2 p.m., Wake Up Memphis from Beyond the Bag, here, KWAM.
Now on FM 107.9 and AM 990.
All right, welcome back to it. The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube, the YouTube channel. Go subscribe, Nation of Jake, one word, Nation of Jake on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter as well, at Nation of Jake. All right, so we have yet another mass shooting thwarted by authorities. A hotel cook, apparently upset over human resources issues, has been arrested for allegedly planning a mass shooting of his coworkers and guests at a Marriott property in Long Beach, California. A tip from a colleague led police to arrest Rodolfo Montoya, 37 years old, in his Huntington Beach home. Police seized firearms, hundreds of rounds of ammunition, and tactical gear, including high-capacity magazines and an assault rifle, which are illegal to possess in California. Suspect Montoya had clear plans, intent, and the means to carry out an act of violence that may have resulted in a mass casualty incident. That's according to police there in Long Beach. Montoya will appear in court as early as Thursday. He does not appear to have a criminal history, which would prevent him from legally owning the types of guns allowed in California, but the types of guns he had in California were already illegal there. Nobody, regardless of their background check, were allowed to own the guns that Rodolfo Montoya had at his place in Huntington Beach. All right, so what would gun laws have done there? What would making guns harder to get or illegal, more illegal in California done to prevent this, from prevent him from having the means to carry it out? What prevented it was somebody knew about it and they called the cops. And so now this plan has been thwarted, which I'm like, hey, good. Now, even when you can go buy guns, and everybody says it's so easy, it's too easy to get guns. Who was it? David Hogg, one of the kids who was at Parkland. He wasn't a victim of the shooting. He was there, with his camera phone, being the fledgling activist reporter that he has now become. David Hogg is all over Twitter. He's a gun activist now. He's 18. He's Harvard bound. I guess he's up in Boston now at Harvard. Because that's what all this exposure gets you in 2019, is a scholarship to Harvard Law or Harvard University. So he's out tweeting stuff like, it's easier to get cold pills. I'm sorry, it's not as easy to get cold pills. It's easier to get an AR-15 than it is to get cold pills, like over-the-counter medication. which I guess he's referring to Sudafed, where now, yes, in some places you have to have a prescription to get it, and it's a pain, or you have to present your driver's license, and they track it. They track it because people make meth out of Sudafed, or the pseudoephedrine that's in Sudafed. All right, so he erroneously claims that it's easier to get an AR-15 than it is to get Sudafed. It's not the case. It's not the case anywhere. You have to pass a background check. You have to go through all the different hoops in order to pass the background check, get it approved. In a lot of places, yes, it is pretty quick. I mean, you can get a gun in a day or so. But people are talking about, oh yeah, Dick's Sporting Goods, Academy Sports and Outdoors, Walmart, stop selling guns. As if Walmart is the main weapons supplier in all these mass shootings. Well, they always do this. You know, from time to time, you'll get a reporter who says, I went into this gun store and I walked out with a gun. And it's like, well, yeah, you're a law-abiding citizen. And you went to a gun store where they sell guns. You qualified. You passed the background check. Why wouldn't you be able to buy a gun? Why wouldn't you be able to? Especially if you go to a gun store. That's what they do there. They've got the process streamlined. Now, with regards to Walmart, a lot of these shootings have taken place at Walmart. The one in El Paso, Texas, was at a Walmart, and we actually had an incident in South Haven where a disgruntled employee came into a Walmart and shot a couple of employees. Well, what about Walmart selling guns? I mean, what's the deal there? You know, everybody's calling on Walmart to stop selling firearms. Well, here's the thing about Walmart. They're one of the biggest retailers in the country, but they're not one of the biggest gun sellers in the country. And we actually have a reporter from Business Insider, which is not some sort of conservative think tank. It's actually not even very conservative at all, the website, just letting you know where the political slant is at Business Insider. Well, a reporter named Haley Peterson decided to go try to buy a gun at Walmart. And you know what? She couldn't do it. The headline here from Business Insider, I tried to buy a gun at Walmart twice, and roadblocks left me empty-handed both times. And she takes us through the process when you try to buy a gun at Walmart. Walmart is facing calls to stop selling guns in wake of deadly shootings at its stores. So, writes Haley Peterson, I went to a Walmart store in Virginia with the intention of buying a gun as part of an investigation into the placement, selection, marketing, security, and sales of firearms in Walmart stores. My journey to bring a gun home from Walmart was more complicated than I expected, and I was left with the impression that the company takes gun security and sales seriously. The availability of guns at Walmart has become a hotly debated issue in wake of 2 deadly shootings at its stores that killed 24 people. More than 128,000 people have signed a petition urging Walmart to stop selling guns and take a stronger stance against firearms since the shootings at El Paso, Texas, and South Haven, Mississippi. But the company has said it has no plans to stop selling guns. I went to Walmart with the intent of buying a gun as part of this investigation into all the above, the product placement, selection, marketing, and security, and to learn more about the retailer's processes governing gun sales. My journey to bring home a gun from Walmart turned out to be far more complicated than I expected. So, before you let anybody tell you that it's easier to buy a gun than it is to buy Sudafed at Walmart or anywhere else, stay with me here. She writes, I hit a roadblock before I even left the house. Walmart has said about half of its 4,700 U.S. stores sell guns. I searched Walmart.com and Google on August 13th to find out which of the 10 Walmart stores near me sold guns, and I failed to come up with any definitive answers. The only guns advertised on Walmart's website are air guns, which are non-lethal. After about 30 minutes, I gave up on searching the internet and turned to the phone. So you can't even just go on the internet and find out which Walmarts sell guns. I figured that employees of any one of Walmart's stores near me would know which location sold guns, but I was wrong. Over an hour and a half, I placed more than a dozen calls to multiple stores, waited on hold for a combined 40 minutes, and got through a human only 3 times. 3 Walmart employees told me they didn't know which stores sold guns in the area. Most people aren't buying their guns at Walmart. I mean, I think that's pretty clear. When you go in to Walmart, you see that, there's a lot of people in line. In fact, the lines to check out at Walmart are unbearable. Even the self-checkout lines. I mean, one over on Germantown Parkway, you go in there, there's like 2 lines for all the people in Walmart. I don't think I've ever seen one person buying guns in the checkout line at Walmart. Now, I'm not sure that's where you go check out with your guns, but we'll go on. Haley Peterson outlines it. She said, one person referred me to Walmart's main customer service line. I called that number and spoke with someone who said he couldn't help me. So when it comes to item availability, they don't want us to discuss that for various reasons, he said. He declined to elaborate on this and said he knew of at least one location near me that didn't sell guns. So he crossed that store off the list. So it was not easy to find out which Walmarts even sell guns. So after hours of Googling, she finally finds a Walmart that sold guns. Hours, y'all. Hours of Googling. So I guess she goes to the Walmart Supercenter in Chesterfield, Virginia, to the sporting goods department, where the woman on the line confirmed guns are sold there. The store was half an hour away, so I got in my car and I plugged the address for Chesterfield Walmart into my phone. When I arrived, I looked for the sporting goods department. I found it about 100 steps from the closest entrance to the store. On my way to the department, I walked past shelves of school supplies, the toy department, and the bike shop. Guns were on display directly under the sign for sporting goods. A selection of about 20 rifles and shotguns was displayed in a locked glass case behind the sporting goods counter. The guns range in price from $159 to $474. I guess that's the rollback. Lowest price is guaranteed at Walmart. The counter in front of the guns displayed pocket knives, binoculars, and digital night vision binoculars inside a locked case. So it's kind of setting the scene for it. And you got the guns, you got the gun case. I told the employee behind the counter I wanted to buy a gun. They called for a manager. And they said, we can't sell you a gun today because they do not have a federally licensed firearms salesman there at the store that day. So you've got to come back on Thursday. So this lady goes in after hours of Googling, finally finding a Walmart that sells guns, goes to the Walmart only to be told, come back another day. Because the guy who can sell you the gun, the only guy, well, he's not here. So you have to come back another day. So look, if you're somebody who's going out to plan a mass shooting, you're not going to jump through all these hoops. You're not going to do that. You're going to go get a gun with different means. So the authorized gun seller wasn't scheduled to work, so they said you can come back on Thursday. On Thursday, I drove another 30 minutes back to Chesterfield, confident that I would successfully purchase a firearm that day. I arrived at the sporting goods department around noon. There was nobody attending to the counter by the firearms, so after waiting about 10 minutes, I walked to another aisle and found someone to help me. I told her I wanted to buy a gun. She said she was an authorized seller and she could help. They walked back to the gun display. They picked up the phone and called someone. Can you meet me at the front to help me with a gun sale? She said into the phone. I was charged $2 for a federal background check, then left the counter and returned a few minutes later with a form titled Department of State Police Virginia Firearms Transaction Record. So that form had to be completed as well. The form asked several obvious questions: name, address, social security number, and it also asked about my race, gender, and U.S. citizenship status. Under a section called Certification of Transferee, it asked about my criminal record, whether I'd ever been convicted of a felony, subject to a restraining order, or prohibited from purchasing a firearm, among other specifics. In red print, the form said that an untruthful answer may subject you to criminal prosecution. The seller told me that my background check would likely be completed within a few minutes after I finished the paperwork. Once the purchase was finalized, an employee would walk the gun out to my car with me. But I had only just finished printing my name when she stopped and asked whether the address on my license matched my home address. I had moved since I obtained my license, and the address didn't match. That was a problem. To pass the background check, I would need to bring in a government-issued document with my correct address, a bill from a state-owned utility or car registration. She apologized, told me the rules were strict about background checks, and asked me to come back another time to finish the purchase. So she left the store empty-handed again. So look, just going through it, is tedious. It's all this going, but that's kind of the point. The point is, it's not an easy thing to do. I mean, you have to have, it's like getting, a license. You got to have your proof of residence. It's like registering your kid for kindergarten. It's like registering your kid for competitive soccer. They want everything. They want to make sure they do it right, especially Walmart. I mean, deep pockets, a lot of liability. So no, it's not as easy as going in and buying Sudafed. It's definitely not easier than going in and buying Sudafed. Overall, Haley Peterson writes, the experience left me with the impression that buying a gun at Walmart is more complicated than I expected, and that Walmart takes gun sales and security pretty seriously. Walmart does not make it easy to figure out which stores sell guns. The firearms at Walmart were locked inside a case and secured to one another with zip ties attached to a metal cord. Only certain employees can open the case and handle the firearms. These include sporting goods associates or salaried managers who have passed both an enhanced background check and online training. When I asked to purchase a gun, the Walmart employee who was authorized to sell guns called for backup to make sure the process was completed correctly. Walmart refused to sell me a gun when an authorized seller wasn't present, and when the address on my license didn't match the one on my home address, even though those issues could mean a lost sale, and there were no advertising materials or promotions in the store to lure people to buy guns. So, look, there are issues with guns. I get it. There are ways to deal with those issues, but not just like a blanket call for all retailers to stop selling guns. All right, they're not going away. People are going to be able to buy guns. All right, and how do you want them sold? You want them sold like this, like Walmart does, or like Dick's Sporting Goods does, in a responsible way? Because people are going to buy them. People, if they don't buy them from Walmart or Dick's Sporting Goods or a gun store, they're going to buy them from somewhere. They're going to buy them from people who do not care about their background. I'd rather them go to Walmart and try to, because look, if you've got an issue with your background, you're not going to submit to a background check. You're not going to wait 2 days for a authorized seller of firearms to show up to work at a Walmart. If you need to plan a mass shooting, it's not going to happen. Plus, they don't even sell the semi-automatic rifles like the ones that we read about in these mass shootings. So yeah, it's silly to sit there and call on Walmart, maybe just symbolically, oh, we're not going to sell them anymore. Here's the thing about it, man. Walmart, they exist in a lot of places where people hunt, where people want to buy those firearms, and they serve the community, so to speak. I mean, they know their customers, they know their audience, so to speak. So anyway, all right, coming up, rethinking cannibalism. Should we just go ahead and just decide to eat people? It's a question that nobody's asking except the folks over at Newsweek. I guess the fine young cannibals. They want to come out of the cannibal closet or something. They're trying to convince you it's all right to eat people. That's coming up next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9, AM 990.
CBS News Update. President Trump says the economy's doing really well, but there may be signs of weakness. The factory sector is contracting for the first time in a decade, and the government overestimated job growth in the year ending last March by 500,000 jobs. Economist Diane Swank.
That really is a pretty sharp downward revision, and at the end of the day, it tells us that the tax cuts and spending increases by the federal government did very little to boost employment. We actually lost momentum as we're going into the end of 2018, early 2019.
She takes a deeper dive into the figures.
It also suggests that not only was job growth slower last year by almost 40,000 a month, but that weakness was in the service sector, leisure and hospitality, retail, professional services. That's a sector that was supposed to be staying strong.
Mr. Trump says growth could be record-setting if the Fed cuts interest rates more. CBS News Update, I'm Pam Coulter.
Did you know that your potential customers look at your website and determine your credibility within 8 seconds? Make sure your business reflects the quality service you provide. Contact Control Alt Design for a free quote today. Today's marketplace is very competitive, and you need a professional web presence. Control Alt Design offers web design at a fraction of what the larger firms charge. Control Alt Design has been helping local businesses stand out on the web for over 20 years. They also offer logo design, business card design, flyers, brochures, and more. See their work today at ControlAltDesign.com.
Free Talk Live. I wanted to run some new ideas I had past you guys.
Okay, cool. What be your sounding board there, Prez?
Ice Cream Day.
I love ice cream day as well. We should have ice cream month and different flavors, just like Baskin Robbins.
Every Friday, Americans get free ice cream.
Now, I don't know about that. Now, wait a minute. From where, George? Ice Cream Angel's going to bring it down?
Free Talk Live, Sunday through Friday nights on KWAM, The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
We've got a new show for you. Every Sunday at 5, hosts Kendrick and Matt are well-known, well-respected, well-loved makeup artists in Memphis. They know all the who's who, what to do, where to go, and who to see. With a combined 25-plus years in the industry, including fashion and styling, and their love of a good party, they are your go-to resource. So tune in Sundays at 5 for Ho Sauce.
This is Clark Howard. You carry around a fat wallet. You've got so many pieces of plastic in there, and you still use something called cash? What's that? Well, let me tell you, there are more and more people that are carrying a thin wallet. I mean an ultra-thin wallet, where they have almost nothing they take with them. Why? Because what do we always have with us? Our smartphones. And I found I've been a slow adopter on this, but more and more, I pay things through apps on my phone. I have credit cards stored on my phone, password protected, or in my case, fingerprint protected. And at various businesses, I have their apps on there, where I can both get loyalty credits and pay through the app. It's more secure than using traditional plastic, not having to carry that big wallet.
The co-chairman of JP Morgan warned that a deep correction, like 40%, could hit the stock market at any time. Don't lose 40%, diversify. Now you can add gold or silver to your IRA or 401k rollover accounts. The stock market has been shaky with the trade negotiations. Don't risk your investments. Listen to the warnings and diversify before you lose 40%. Protect your portfolio with solid, intangible investments, gold and silver. Call 800-659-5096, and all qualified investors get a free 2020 Trump Freedom Coin and a 10-ounce silver bar with your account. Call 800-659-5096 to be connected now and get a free 2020 Trump Freedom Coin and a 10-ounce silver bar when you open a qualified account. Or go to noblegoldinvestments.com. Individual results may vary. Invest wisely. Open your qualified account today to get your free 2020 Trump Freedom Coin and a 10-ounce silver bar. Don't wait for a 40% deep correction. Call 800-659-5096. That's 800-659-5096.
All right, welcome back to it. It's the Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com, streaming live on YouTube, where you can watch me try to solve the Rubik's Cube. I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right. I'm following all the steps in my brain, trying to work on my speed. I don't know if I can be like one of those kids who can do it blindfolded, give a kid a Rubik's Cube for a few minutes, and then they just do it blindfolded. I don't know. I know like a 9 or 10-year-old kid who can do it pretty quick. I don't know if you can do it blindfolded or not, but it's really, really impressive. So I'm trying to get to that point. I mean, I'm 40, so I'm not sure if it's as impressive. However, I mean, when you learn stuff like way, way late, it is actually more impressive. You know, all the stuff kids learn now, I mean, with computers, I mean, they're born with a screen in front of them. Kids learn languages, foreign languages better. They got that critical period, they call it. Like if you're 6 or so, your brain is a sponge. Even before that, in these toddlers, You know, kids like learn to ski real early. You learn anything early enough, you're going to be better at it. You'll be having done it longer or a bigger percentage of your life. I've never tried for real to solve this Rubik's Cube until 2 nights ago at age 40. So I'm getting there. It's cool. I'm fine. The other thing that I've always thought about, or at least I was always taught as a young kid, is that we don't eat people, at least in this country. Cannibalism is taboo. You know, maybe in a situation, plane crash. What was that movie, Alive? Way back, I think it was called Alive. Where that soccer team, they had to eat each other. And this whole thing, hey, you know, we're out here, we're stranded in the snow. We're on Mount Everest. As my 5-year-old told me last night, Mount Everest is covered in snow and dead people. Just in casual conversation, she said that to me. Kind of like a Donner Party kind of deal, you know? Oh, yeah. Oh, they had to eat each other. They had to resort to eating humans. And then they never speak of it ever again. You know, and I've read about cannibals before. I read an article about a guy who he ate his own amputated foot, and he invited his friends over to do it. He had to have his foot amputated for some reason, motorcycle accident, I think. And so he took it home. It's his property, and he had a chef prepare it. And then he had his friends eat it. And they all kind of talked about how it tasted and the experience of eating human flesh. Well, Newsweek published an op-ed about cannibalism. Is it time to rethink the taboo on cannibalism, they ask. Since cannibalism is found throughout the animal kingdom, and therefore is something natural, perhaps it is time for humans to rethink the ultimate taboo against eating human flesh, Newsweek proposes in an article Wednesday. There's nothing necessarily unethical or unreasonable about eating human flesh, declare psychologists Jared Piazza and Neil McClatchy of Lancaster University. But careful reasoning over the merits of cannibalism is often overridden by our feelings of repulsion and disgust. While not going so far as to recommend cannibalism, saying there's no need to overcome our repulsion for the foreseeable future, the two authors suggest that humans could master their aversion for human flesh if they needed to. All right, so this is not like a modest proposal by Jonathan Swift. All right, I don't think this is necessarily satire, but they're just saying, hey, look, there might come a time, like when we get rid of all the farting cows and we're overpopulated. Remember the population bomb, Paul Ehrlich and whatnot? There could be an overabundance of humans, and we may need to eat them. Many people develop disgust for all kinds of meats. While morticians and surgeons quickly adapt to the initially difficult experience of handling dead bodies, our ongoing research with butchers in England suggests that they easily adapt to working with animal parts that the average consumer finds quite disgusting. Moreover, the psychological revulsion experienced over the prospect of consuming human flesh is not the product of reason, and may even contradict reason, they argue in Wednesday's article. Survivors of the famous 1972 Andes plane crash waited until near starvation before succumbing to reason and eating those who had already died. All sorts of animals eat other members of their own species, from spadefoot tadpoles and Australian redback spiders to gulls and pelicans. And cannibalism can even be found among mammals, such as many rodents, bears, lions, and chimpanzees. Yet humans seem entrenched in their conviction that anthropophagy is simply wrong. Anthropophagy, whatever the hell that word is, eating each other, cannibalism, is wrong no matter how many conditions are placed on hypothetical scenarios. Human revulsion towards cannibalism stems from our tendency to associate personhood and flesh, the authors propose, even when the flesh in question is no longer living. Ah, that's right, yeah, we do. You know, people really want to have that kind of closure. You talk about, getting the remains. Remember that guy who went to North Sentinel Island and he was promptly murdered by those people who didn't want him there? They're talking about, going and getting his remains. I mean, is that really him? Is the soul and the body one? Desecrating a corpse, that could be food, right? I'm not so sure. I do think, though, it's odd that, there are some people who will reject capitalism, but they'll entertain cannibalism. Well, that's just, to me, it's just kind of odd. It's just very 2019, isn't it? Condemn capitalism while opening the door to cannibalism. It's very weird. I'm not going to eat human flesh anytime soon. There's really no call for it, nor would there ever be, I don't think. Well, only because, look, even if we don't have the cows, we still have the Impossible Burgers, right? There's why is, I don't know. It's just, here's really what it comes down to. Whether it's an article on cannibalism or an article about a volcano under Yosemite National Park that could explode, or whether or not you having a front lawn and maintain it is contributing to climate change, no matter what the goofy, idiotic article that's written in Newsweek, New York Times, Washington Post, whatever it is, it simply comes down to real estate, doesn't it? It used to be there was a finite amount of space for opinion articles, news stories. It had to fit in the paper. All right, there was also a timeline. They had to go to print, right? There was not an infinite amount of space for all these goofy ideas. In year of our Lord 2019, we have the internet, which is an infinite space for goofy ideas. That's why these two psychologists got a spot there in Newsweek or Newsweek.com to write about we need to get rid of the taboo against cannibalism, which we don't actually. There's no real call for it. Eating human flesh is gross, but you do it if you had to. What if I had to? It'd be tasty. What's like the tastiest cut? I say the calf. Just give me a leg. It's like a big old turkey leg, but like human turkey leg. All right, coming up in a minute, there's a new trailer out for a movie that I'm not sure who asked for this. I'm not sure what the audience is. I'm not sure we need this movie. But this is not even the first movie about this controversy that we all witnessed some years ago. I'll tell you all about it next right here in the Nation of Jake.
Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
This is Sherry from the 19 Strong Show. The politics of Memphis can be unnecessarily complicated and sometimes just downright shady. On Saturdays, the 19 Strong team works hard to dissect the issues and shed some light on the council and administration's decisions and how they truly impact you and Memphis. Join me and my better half for the latest council news and colorful commentary. On Saturdays at 1, join us for your weekly chat rant right here on KWAM 990.
Hey, are you ready for your new baby?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the ABCs of infant safe sleep?
No, what's that?
Babies should sleep alone, on their back, and in their own crib.
Wow, I didn't know that. Thanks.
For more information regarding infant safe sleep, contact the Shelby County Health Department at 901-222-9000 or log on to shelbytnhealth.com. Funding for this was provided by Tennessee Department of Health.
If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, stop. Don't do anything until you talk to my man, James Underwood. James Underwood has been helping people like you navigate the Mid-South real estate market for more than a decade. So whether you're looking to buy your first home or do an upgrade to your forever home, James Underwood can help make it happen. No gimmicks, no guarantees, just a rock-solid guy that I've known for 25 years. So now, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, hit up James Underwood with CryLike. JamesUnderwood.crylike.com. That's JamesUnderwood.crylike.com.
I'm Ed Paramic, the owner of JanPro, the franchise that helps you be your own boss. JanPro is now the fastest growing franchise in the entire world for the second year in a row by Entrepreneur Magazine. We are growing so fast we need new business owners right here in Memphis right now. So if you want to be your own boss and open your own business, call JanPro at 901-683-4900 to see just how easy it is to be your own boss. For as little as $950 down, you can be a part of JanPro. Don't waste another minute. Call 901-683-4900.
Planning for retirement can be confusing and overwhelming. Tune into the Servant Retirement Show to hear the current news and events today's retirees need to know. Every Saturday morning at 8 on KWAM, AM 990. If you want to talk to Dan Groban or Philip Menard today about your retirement plans, call the team at Servant Advisors Group, 855-260-1000. That's 855-260-1000. Get started on the path toward a comfortable retirement today. 855-260-1000.
Welcome back. The Nation of Jake on the Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. In a little bit, we've got the friendliest states ranked. All 50 of them. Where does Tennessee rank in the friendliest states? That's coming up in just a minute. Also, we are going to talk to nationally syndicated columnist Ron Hart about 2020 and some other things. He's got a new column out. We will see what it's all about this week with Ron. All right, so there was some big movie news yesterday about Spider-Man possibly exiting the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I know who watches Marvel movies. Guys like me. Guys who grew up on Spider-Man cartoons and Spider-Man comic books and Avengers, superheroes. It's big business because we are 40-something guys with our own kids who love this stuff. And so everybody goes out and sees those movies. So they've got, that's why they got like 23, 24 Marvel movies and plus a bunch of movies about Superman and Batman and all that kind of stuff. I see why those movies are huge. All right, there's an audience for them. However, today, the big movie news is that Lionsgate Films has dropped a new trailer for the movie Bombshell. All right, this movie Bombshell is about the sexual harassment scandal at Fox News with Roger Ailes. Yeah. Here's the trailer. It's Margot Robbie, who plays some sort of fictional producer. She's getting on an elevator. There's no real dialogue. Everything's unspoken. Based on the real scandal. Then on the elevator walks another blonde woman. By the way, looks just like Megyn Kelly. It's Charlize Theron, and she looks just like Megyn Kelly. I do not know how they made her look that much like her. It's just makeup. Or I don't know, how you lose weight in your face like that, or the way she's, maybe sucking her cheeks in. But she looks, there's no mistaking as to who that's supposed to be. It's Megyn Kelly. And then on walks Nicole Kidman in a bad wig, and is Gretchen Carlson. Only because I know that that's who she's supposed to be. She doesn't look much like anybody other than Nicole Kidman with a wig on, with a bad wig. However, my God, it's almost like what LA Confidential was when Bud White was talking about how they cut women to look a certain way, plastic surgery from back in the day. It looks like Charlize Theron had plastic surgery to look like Megyn Kelly. Looks exactly like her. That said, who's the audience for this? Who asked for this movie? Who's going to go to the theater to see another movie about the Fox News sexual harassment scandal? Why is this being made? Who's going to go see this? How about a movie about the NBC sexual harassment scandal? Matt Lauer had a rape button, like a secret rape button to lock victims into his office. And there's not been one movie about Matt Lauer. Everybody, who wants to see Roger Ailes' old dude, like, sexually harassing blonde-headed? Nobody!
Station with the most local talk and CBS News at the top of every hour. KWAM, Memphis.
This is CBS News on the hour. Real news, real reporting.
I'm Pam Coulter. Police in Southern California say they have thwarted another mass shooting, arresting an LA area hotel cook who allegedly made a threat toward his workplace. CBS News correspondent Jerika Duncan reports.
Suspect Montoya had clear plans, intent, and the means to carry out an act of violence that may have resulted in a mass casualty incident.
Long Beach police arrested disgruntled hotel cook Rodolfo Montoya at his home in Huntington Beach. They seized multiple high-powered firearms, hundreds of rounds of ammunition, and tactical gear. including an assault rifle and high-capacity magazines, which are illegal in California.
Also in Los Angeles, authorities unsealed a grand jury indictment that charges 80 people with carrying out a massive conspiracy to steal millions of dollars through money laundering and cyber fraud schemes. Many of the defendants are in Nigeria, but 14 people were arrested in the U.S. this morning. U.S. Attorney Nick Hanna identifies the victims.
The indictment outlines schemes against more than 30 victims, about half of which are businesses and law firms, mainly operating in the U.S. There are more than 10 individual victims, including 8 who are older Americans, who are targeted in romance scams and other get-rich-quick schemes.
Brazil's Amazon rainforest is on fire. The government's registered almost 73,000 fires, the highest number since 2013. Wall Street Journal correspondent Samantha Pearson says there's so much smoke the city of Sao Paulo, some 2,000 miles away from the fires, was plunged into darkness.
These forest fires have been happening for weeks now in the Amazon, but I think really that moment in Sao Paulo is actually kind of a turning point where people suddenly kind of woke up and was like, oh my God, this is real, this is actually happening. The environmental changes are going to have an impact on my life.
Brazil's president suggests environmental groups started the fires. There's mixed news on the job market, with the federal government announcing a big do-over on job growth in 2018. CBS's Jason Brooks has details.
The government says job growth in 2018 was not nearly as strong as first thought. The Bureau of Labor Statistics lowered the jobs gain for 2018 into early 2019 by 500,000, with big cuts in leisure and hospitality, business services, and retail. Job growth has been solid since in 2019, and unemployment claims are headed in the right direction, with labor reporting that initial claims fell by 12,000 to 209,000, near a 5-decade low.
President Trump says the U.S. economy is doing really well. The Dow is up 89, NASDAQ down 15. This is CBS News.
The CBS World News Roundup Late Edition with Jim Chenovy.
President Trump held a series of meetings today on the border wall.
Every weeknight on the CBS Radio Network.
It is a horrible scenario, but it happens. Dennis writes about his wife. She was diagnosed with leukemia. In fact, she's a 2-time survivor, and in the midst of all that, it ran up over $1 million in medical bills. Thankfully, they're MediShare members. And Dennis says they are so thankful for that, how others came together to meet their needs. And that's how so many MediShare members feel. This is not health insurance. It's different. You don't have to pay for things you don't believe in. And like Dennis found out, it just works. So if you join MediShare, not only do you save a lot of money, a typical family saves about $500 a month, but you know where your money's going each month. You're helping people, and if the time should come, they'll be helping and even praying for you. So yes, it's different, and as more than 400,000 people now know when it comes to healthcare costs, different is beautiful. Find out more. Call 866-88-BIBLE. That's 866-88-BIBLE. 866-88-BIBLE.
There's concern about injured bears in North Carolina.
There's a sad trend happening with bears in the mountains of North Carolina. They're walking around with just 3 legs. At least 9 of them have been spotted. A Facebook page called Help Asheville Bears says hurt bears have been roaming, and it's believed their injuries could be from trapping. Bear claws are illegally sold to China, one poster writes. There's now a $7,000 reward for information about what's behind the missing limbs. Matt Piper, CBS News.
Should a governor be forced to live in the state capital? West Virginia Delegate Isaac Spanagel thinks so. He filed a suit saying Governor Jim Justice should live in Charleston because the state constitution says the governor must reside at the seat of government. A judge has requested more documents in the case. Justice has said he lives in Lewisburg, and his lawyers argue the definition of reside is nebulous, and they insist the governor is in Charleston when he needs to be. Pam Coulter, CBS News.
Would you take $100 and throw 80 of it away? If you're taking drugstore vitamin tablets, that's exactly what you're doing, because 80% of those tablets are not being absorbed. Hi, I'm naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, creator of Texas Superfood. Many of you take Texas Superfood daily and feel great, but some people tell us they just don't like the taste of green powder or they have a problem swallowing capsules. That's why we created our new line of great tasting liquid supplements. Go to TexasSuperfood.com/liquid for multivitamins to products for energy, sleep, joint care, and more. Our liquid supplements offer the highest absorption rates available anywhere, up to 96%. Imagine waking up after a great night's sleep feeling rested and ready to handle the day with endless energy and clarity. Stop wasting your money on drugstore vitamin tablets that don't work. TexasSuperfood.com/liquid to get 20% off. Go to TexasSuperfood.com/liquid. Go to TexasSuperfood.com/liquid now.
That's what I'm talking about, Jake. I've worked in the private sector. They expect results.
Welcome to the Nation of Jake on The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Woo! All right, welcome back to it. The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. We're online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Also streaming live on YouTube, the YouTube channel, Nation of Jake. You can watch me right now. I'm struggling with my Rubik's Cube. I'm doing everything I did last time. It's just not working. I think Greg may have sabotaged my Rubik's Cube. G-Man, he took it apart. He took it apart and he ruined it because the algorithms that I'm using, they're not working right now. So I'll be occupied with that as I try to get through the rest of this here talk show until 3 o'clock here on The Voice. You can catch up with me on Facebook and Twitter at Nation of Jake. You can also listen on demand and commercial free on the Nation of Jake podcast. You can do that on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spreaker, Spotify, SoundCloud. You can get caught up as well. So if you missed the first hour where I was jacking around with my Rubik's Cube and not paying attention to what I was doing, you can check out that part of the show, or you can just make it a habit to pop in from time to time and tell your friends not only about the YouTube channel, but also the podcast, the breakfast cereal, all the merchandising available in the Nation of Jake. You can do that. Mostly just tell your friends that there is something called the Nation of Jake. And mainly you can hear it Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 right here on The Voice. So, for lack of a saga today, I'm a little bit burnt out on talking about Donald Trump 24/7. Oh, hell, we've had everything. We've had the Greenland saga. We talked about Donald Trump saying he's the chosen one. The comments he's made about Israel. He was called by some conservative host King of Israel, and he quoted him. So they're talking about Donald Trump. I'm kind of over it for the week. There's other stuff to talk about. Hell, we can talk more about cannibalism. We can talk about how Charlize Theron looks just like Megyn Kelly in the trailer for that movie nobody's going to go see. Seriously, man, going back to this movie Bombshell, the reason I would go see it is because Margot Robbie's in it and Charlize Theron's in it looking like Megyn Kelly. Just for the portrayals of these people in this news story. But they already made one. They already made one of these movies about the sexual harassment at Fox News. It had, what's his face? What's his name? Gladiator guy. Russell Crowe as Roger Ailes. And Naomi Watts was in it as one of those who accused him of sexual harassment. How many people care enough about that story to go watch it? I think it's just being made by Hollywood types because they hate Fox News. And they want to expose Roger Ailes. Roger Ailes is dead. He's dead. You know who else is dead? Michael Jackson's dead. You know who else is dead? Epstein. Not Robert, but Jeffrey. And they're going to continue to go out and talk about these dead guys. In the case of Epstein, I'm all for it because that was a bad dude. So there's that. Talk about that stuff. There's plenty of stuff to get after. It's just kind of all disjointed today, so don't get into anything too serious. We've got the 50 friendliest states in America ranked. All right, because it's kind of silly to say, hey, these are the 50 friendliest states in America, because that's all of them. There's only 50. There's not 57. There's not 51. There's not 70. So it is titled here, the 50 friendliest states in America. Turns out when it comes to friendliness, not all states are created equal. From old school Southern charm to outright city rudeness, there's varying degrees of politeness. So we asked our social audience of 1.5 million people, what are the friendliest states in America? I forgot what website I got this from, so I don't know what their social audience is. I guess they did a poll, whatever website did this. From strangers helping you to find your way when your phone doesn't work, to making new best friends at a local bar, these are the states across the USA where you'll be made to feel the most and least welcome. Now, what do you think? Is there going to be a trend here? I mean, the conventional wisdom is that the southern states are the friendliest given southern hospitality. There is a difference, man. You know, every time, on my travels, and I traveled for about 5 years straight for 162 baseball games, I would go all over the country. And there's just varying customs across the country. We're very polite here. I will have you know. In Memphis, in the South generally, people in the South say hello to you when you're walking down the street. Hey, how's it going? And you expect to get some sort of acknowledgement, don't you? It's not like that everywhere. No, you go up north, and people are kind of put off by you speaking to them. Oh, that guy said hi to me. Can you believe he doesn't know me? He said hello? How dare he? How dare he address me? It's not received as well. There was a guy I worked with, a guy like me. I'm from Memphis originally. I've lived all over the South. I've lived in Memphis, Tennessee, Mobile, Alabama, Shreveport, Louisiana, Atlanta, Georgia, and then back to Memphis. Those are the 5 markets or cities that I've lived in my life. So I'm all over the Southeast. I'm a Southern guy. I don't sound it, don't always act it, but I'm Southern by birth, okay? So I say hello. I nod. I hold doors. I do all those things. When I was working in Atlanta, which a lot of people are a lot like us, Atlanta, Georgia, the South, I worked with a guy who was from Chicago. And I would always say hello. I would always be polite. I would always be civil. It's just the way it was. And he didn't like it. He didn't like the fact that I was always asking him how he was doing. He's like, man, every time you see me, you're asking me how I'm doing. How do I look like I'm doing? I'm like, hey, bro, you need to calm down. All right? You are in the South. And I say stuff like, hey, man, you doing good? And he'd say something like, if I'm not, you going to do something to change it? I'm like, hey, don't mistake my politeness as me being some sort of doormat you can walk on and talk that way. I've given you the impression it's okay to talk to me that way. I'm sorry, you got the wrong impression. You talk to me like that again, I'll stab you in the face. But if I ask you how you're doing, fine. And you? I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Appreciate it. That's all. It's kind of a superficial politeness we have because I'm not that nice a guy. I'm not like, but I'm always civil. I'm fair. I'm a nice guy. So that said, what do you think is the nicest state, friendliest state in the USA? It's a good question. Let's get to the list, shall we? Let's just start with the unfriendliest places. At number 50, they've got New York. And this is, look, I've never been offended by anybody from New York. I'm just saying that they cut to the quick in New York City. I was walking around in New York, I think I was 19 or 20 at the time, and I was walking around just looking at stuff. Here I am, this excited Southerner goes to New York City, and I'm walking around, and a guy, I guess he didn't know his way around either very well, but he was from the north. He just shouts at me from about 5 feet away, hey, where's Bleecker Street at? And I'm like, what? No, excuse me? Hey, excuse me, I'm not from around here. Could you tell me where I could find Bleecker Street? That's how I would ask somebody, and they would probably think I was the idiot. But this guy just walks up to me, hey, where's Bleecker Street at? I'm like, I don't know, but then I started to tell him I wasn't from there, but then I saw the sign for Bleecker Street. I said, right there. Oh, okay. No, thank you, nothing. And he just went off to Bleecker Street. I guess he was going to Bleecker Street Records. I don't know. Maybe he was going over to the, what's that place where they keep the Infinity Stone on Doctor Strange? I don't know. But New York, not known for its politeness overall, says locals might seem a bit gruff at first, but it's a melting pot of many cultures, and the neighborhoods in each borough of NYC have a community feel if you manage to stick it out for long enough. Just don't dawdle on the sidewalk or hold up traffic taking Instagram shots. That's it too. Just get to where you're going. Walk with a purpose, sense of urgency. Not like here. Arkansas ranks rather low for a southern state. Arkansas is right there. I've never had a problem with Arkansans. Arkansas is a friendly state if you're local. While that's all well and good for Arkansas residents and their neighborly vibes, it can mean that visitors might feel like they don't quite fit in or unwelcome. I get it. If you're from out of town, we don't take kindly to your people coming around here. Carpetbagger. Go home, carpetbagger. Then we got Delaware. I guess Delaware's not really friendly for people. Massachusetts, yeah, kind of in the same vein as New York. They're very to the point kind of folks. A lot of these places kind of end up where you think. Florida's very low. Florida's at 42. And I've always thought that, Florida, while located in the South, Florida's not the South. Know what I mean? It's like Texas. It's in the southern quadrant, southern half of the United States, but it's definitely not the South. Rhode Island is rude. California, a bunch of rude bastards in California. In the middle, you got like Virginia, Vermont, North Carolina. Still looking for Tennessee. I went through this whole list. Iowa, where there's a lot of attention now for the 2020 Democratic presidential race. Iowa is at 29th. So that's bottom half for friendliness. I don't know, everybody from Iowa I've ever met is very friendly. Here we go. Missouri. Missouri's at 22. Mississippi, south of the border here, 23. Mississippi is a charming state with plenty of southern sweetness. One thing that surprises most out-of-towners about Mississippi is how friendly the people are. Locals are polite and can be and will come to you to welcome you as one of their own once you don't try to tell them how much better up north is. Okay, gotcha. So this is all just fluff, really. But we get down to the brass tacks. Turns out that the great state of Tennessee, the volunteer state, number 2 on the list of friendliest states. Pretty cool. That classic Southern charm is in full swing in Tennessee, where locals have a buzzing attitude and an eagerness to show off their city to out-of-towners. Add the lively music scene, and it's clear why it's one of the friendliest states in America. I get that, man. You go to Dollywood, Dolly Parton's giving away free books here. Nashville is booming. Still got that Southern hospitality. I get it. Even in Memphis, man, Memphis. Hell, if you come to Memphis, or all you have to do is say something nice about Memphis, and people in Memphis will love you. Think about it. Think about the NBA players who have chosen to play in Memphis, like Zebo, Zach Randolph. The guy signs with the Grizzlies. He goes out and does some stuff in the community, and he walks on water here. Justin Timberlake was allegedly on Beale Street last night. So if you are a celebrity who pays attention to Memphis, or just really anybody from out of town who decides, hey, I decided to come live in Memphis, then we're like, all right, you're good by me. But just don't say anything bad about it, or we will stab you in the face. That's kind of the Memphis nice. It's not as nice as Minnesota nice, and they're number 1 on the list. And that's what they say. People in Minnesota are very nice, unless they're Amy Klobuchar, who's running for president, and will throw things at you if you mess up any of the details of her schedule. That's, from what I understand, that's her brand. She's Minnesota nice until she's not. So there you go. Tennessee, number 2 on the friendliest states list. How's that make you feel? You agree? I think it's as good as any. I mean, again, this is kind of a social media poll that was done by some website. This is not any kind of scientific polling. Even if it were, I'm not sure I would believe in it, because polls are largely garbage. I like results. I don't like how people feel about stuff. I want to know how things are, not how they're perceived. But then again, perception is reality, as they say. All right, we're going to break away for a second. We're going to call Ron Hart, nationally syndicated columnist, see what he is talking about this week. I have a feeling that the front runner, the number 1 with a bullet, Joe Biden, will come up in our conversation. We'll talk to Ron next right here in the Nation of Jake.
Hey. Talk to Morgan.
Oh, yeah?
And he's in leadership in Memphis for the last 3 days.
streaks, buildup,
So he's
smudges,
kind of out of the loop.
fingerprints, paw prints, spider webs,
But
dead bugs, there's
he
little
said he
white
got
speckles. I have
just
no
a
idea
cold
what they
tonight,
are.
I
Who
think.
knows what else? Now, cleaning all the windows in your house makes a big difference, but it's also a big job. That's why you
All right,
need
I'm gonna
Just
call Ron
Windows
here in a
Home
second.
Services. Just Windows has been taking the pain out of window cleaning since 1992. Just Windows cleans all types of windows: storm windows, screens, skylights, interior, exterior, upstairs and down. Now I know I told you
Those
the
are wrong
company is called
corners.
Just Windows Home Services, but they do a lot more. Roof and gutter cleaning, pressure washing, mirrors, blinds, ceiling fans, light fixtures, chandeliers. Look, if you've got hard to reach areas of the house, then you need Just Windows
out
Home
in,
Services. Call for a free
Arlington.
estimate.
That's why I shoot a little video.
That's 751
The guy that has the
3934, or get
tackle
online
shop
at
there
justwindowsmemphis.com.
does a
That's
weekly show. He streams on Facebook.
justwindowsmemphis.com.
Got a little studio set up upstairs.
Cafe,
And he does it on
everybody really does know your name.
but he's got like 2 or 3 cameras hooked up to his
Cafe is a
system.
family-friendly place.
He's
to
got
have
one
fun
on him,
and
and
serves a
he's
full
got
menu, including Mexican-American
one
dishes,
that's
all
shooting
day
out,
breakfast,
looking
and
down
great
on the
kids
store
menu.
from
With
I don't
theme
know,
nights like
second
Nifty
level.
50s or love songs,
All right.
they have something for everyone. Located at 5808 Stage
yours-
Road,
could yours do more than one
Joe's
camera?
Karaoke
Nah.
Cafe, your next
Not right
stop
now.
for
I'll find
food,
out what the name of
family,
his
and fun.
If you're in need of a
My
professional
switcher.
cleaning service that takes your business
So-
as serious
It may
as
be
you do,
switcher.
call Jan
Does it hold
Cleaning
more than
Systems
one?
today. They
It
understand
can.
that
Mine doesn't. I just had a little free app online.
That's why they offer the Jan Pro Signature Clean and the Jan Pro Guarantee. From regular scheduled cleaning to the tough stuff like stripping and waxing, buffing, carpet extraction, and detail cleaning, Jan Pro does it all.
He had one of
Call
those
today
ring
for free,
lights
no
that somebody
obligation
here
quote.
uses.
901-683-4900. Insured and bonded for your protection. Jan Pro Cleaning Systems. Measurable cleaning, guaranteed results.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about
You know, Channel 5 does not have an audio person now. It's all automated.
Wow.
Dan Groban
And last night I was watching it, Conjanta, they let her talk for about 20 seconds and nobody could hear. Everybody thought their IFB had gone out.
They want to help remove stress from your retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Servant Advisors Group at 855-260-1000 for a complimentary retirement analysis with strategies that could help your nest egg provide you monthly income you'll need in retirement.
Did they get to play soccer last night?
Yeah, we had some practice and then we have a game tonight, so it's gonna be some fun stuff.
Better man than me.
Tune in Tuesday
I'd be
mornings at
watching in the car over there.
Yeah. It'll be okay tonight. Hopefully it won't rain.
So we'd like to share how Triumph's local focus can make banking easy for you. Do you have a bank that serves as a
Ronnie, what's up?
for both you and your business? Are you saving for a major purchase or buying a home?
Cool, dude. About 30 seconds or so, maybe less. All right, cool. See you in a minute.
Triumph Bank is a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender. Let's talk growth with Triumph. Tuesdays at 7:35.
Woo. All right, welcome back to it. It's the Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. We're on YouTube, the YouTube channel. I've been leaving up the video during the commercial breaks. Usually I've got the old Johnny Carson style, more to come graphic, but I want to see me working on my Rubik's Cube, because that's what I've been doing during the show. So just to illustrate that I'm really not fully invested in today's show, I'm more invested in my Rubik's Cube. I want to be one of the kids who can do it blindfolded. But at 40. It's just a party trick I've been working on for some time, few days. I can solve it, but I get hung up. I want to know the why, just not the moves, right? So while I am working on my Rubik's Cube, I figured I would call up our guy Ron Hart, nationally syndicated columnist, to kind of help me out, because Ron, I just haven't been doing much preparation for the show today. Instead, more trying to work out this. Have you ever solved a Rubik's Cube, Ron?
Not on purpose. Someone came with one already solved it, but they're credit for it.
Nice, yeah. You buy them already solved. Just tell people that you solved it. It's pretty amazing. Have you seen those kids who can do this, like blindfolded?
No.
Oh, dude. Go on YouTube. What they do is they inspect it. They kind of look how it's set up. Because there's a whole strategy for a Rubik's Cube, and that's what I'm learning. But some of these kids, I mean, they're just little sponges, right? And they can just look it over. They can look it over and then say, okay, I'm ready. And they blindfold them, and they do it within like 30 seconds. It's unbelievable. Right, exactly. I mean, I don't know how you translate that into. I mean, look, it's all like algorithms. These kids will turn into the kind of guys who are going to code those robots that are going to take everybody's jobs. I mean, that's pretty much. Well, yeah, I mean, it shows. Now, you know what? You make a great point, all right, because, you know, who knows what college education is going to look like in the future or the job market. But here's what we do know is everybody's going to have to use the facilities forever. So plumbing and HVAC, it's not a bad deal. And also, especially with climate change, we just had a bunch of heat advisories the past week. You're going to need that AC blowing cold, no matter what. And that guy's going to be king. Yep. Yeah, it's an investment, and it's a value proposition, like you said. I mean, you know, it's great to have, you know, a degree from, say, Rhodes College, but going into, you know, triple figures of debt to get it's probably not the best idea. Yeah. Right. Yeah, and they're asking the 2020 presidential candidates to wipe it all away. And that's kind of what, and that's what this has all kind of become a referendum on, is who's going to give away the most free stuff. You know, all I'm reading about now, Ron Hart, is that we've got a budget deficit that's going to be $1 trillion. We are in mad, crazy debt. It seems like nobody is really concerned with debts and deficits until the other side is in office. Yeah, it's funny because even Republicans who are supposed to be these fiscal conservatives, when they get in office, when they get power, all they do is spend a bunch of money, and it's just a bunch of lip service to fiscal responsibility. Right. Right, because Orange Man bad. So what do you see for, like, you know, with regards to all the headlines about a potential recession and how that could be put at Trump's feet in 2020, and so, but you're also seeing the 2020 Democrats.
It's not going to happen.
Oh, okay. it's so weird because a recession is always coming. I mean, it has to slow down, right? But now you're starting to get just all these headlines. I was talking about it yesterday. There was a poll out, Ron, that an overwhelming majority of people are worried about a recession. And I thought to myself, well, why are they worried about a recession? It's because all you've done the last week is tell them that it's coming.
Right. Well, we got to come out here. We're going to have one. We have them over there. 10 years into this one. That one, under Obama, we just have he basically locked have the private sector market recover 3-4% a year. Put government
we can grow this economy. He's done that, and basically, the real story is he's kept us from recession. I mean, we were due for one. We had an aging 10-year cycle. This is the longest in the history of the United States without a recession. And we were due for one, and I think what he's done is kept us from one.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way. I never thought of it that way with it's always coming, and he kept us out of a recession. What's your take right now? We saw some polls the other day about Joe Biden. He still seems to solidify his status as the front runner for 2020, despite the fact that he's a gaffe machine. And they're even talking about kind of protecting the football at this point and limiting his exposure so that he doesn't make any more malapropisms.
Yeah, even his wife says, look, he's the best chance to beat Trump. And he agreed with his wife. I interviewed him the other day. He said, look, I got the best chance to beat Nixon.
Right, yeah.
That's the way he is. I mean, he's and I'm not sure he's driving the bus on the Biden campaign. It feels like it may be Ted Kennedy or something. But they're totally disorganized. Their heart's not in it. This is not with Obama. You have to say it was a movement. It was exciting. He's a charismatic young guy. He had a Kennedy feeling about him. Whether you agree with his politics or not, there's some excitement about it. With Biden, it's not. He's an old, tired politician. He'll probably have cronies around him. I'd be low. He's the age. He and Bernie Sanders, who's 77, 78 years old. You start taking the keys away from your parents at that age, not letting them drive. And in America, we're letting them, run for president. I don't get that. It's a young man's game. A lot of energy goes into it. And to Trump's credit, I mean, he's McDonald's, but he is high energy. He's in mid-70s himself, and he's not losing. He's very there. You may not agree with him, but he's there. And these other guys are questionably not there right now, including Biden, especially Biden. By the way, why do they call it? They keep saying Biden. They say Biden, Joe Biden. I said, okay, Northeastern dialect right now bugs me, like Michael Jordan. These young kids do that. They need to stop it.
Oh, Biden? Like they kind of like swallow the D, which sounds I don't know if I can say that on the air. That said, yeah, Biden. It's like they kind of skip it. No, I feel that. But here's the other thing about Joe Biden, which really kind of it should be a red flag for everybody. Joe Biden is your front runner. He's your double-digit lead over Warren and Sanders. Kamala Harris has just taken a nosedive. But Joe Biden has not gotten like an express endorsement from Barack Obama, the president with whom he served as vice president.
Right.
His wife can't even give him a glowing endorsement. It's almost like her endorsement was so lukewarm. It was like, look, all the other candidates might be better than Joe Biden on this. They might be better than him on this, but he's the guy who's electable. Like, you just kind of, who else are you going to vote for? It was just kind of like half-hearted. It wasn't like my husband is the best candidate to be president. He's the best man. It was more like, who else is going to do it? It's just.
Yeah, to your point, though, Obama's been a coward and not showing loyalty by not endorsing him. That's pitiful. I mean, that really is bad. He was your vice president. I mean, that just shows you're a pure politician. You're not a loyal person. That would not be good for his legacy. You can't wait till there's a front runner and then a nominee and endorse the nominee. It's just not the way it's done. You have some guys, do that. And secondly, no one else in that field, except maybe Buttigieg, the little Mayor Pete, aren't that likable. I mean, Joe's a likable guy. He's a knucklehead. He's a tough guy. I think his heart's in the right place. He did make $15 million his first year out of business. So you talk about Mr. Green New Deal. I mean, he got Mr. Green New Deal when he got out. So, yeah, $15 million, even he's doing well in the Trump economy. The key with Democrats or liberals is you can make a lot of money. You just got to like you feel bad about it. That's the key. You got to be guilty about it. So he made $15 million for his presidency. That was announced the other day. Pretty big number. The Obamas made $50 million odd. And if they got a Netflix special, they're going to make more. They cash in. And I'm more concerned that Trump's net worth's going from $3 billion to $2 billion in office. Harry Reid, Nancy Pelosi, this guy Biden, all those other people, their net worth goes up while they're in office. I think you got to worry more about people whose net worth goes up while they're in office than the ones who had their money before they went in there, like Bob Corker and Trump.
Yeah, no doubt. What is President Obama's buying some big old estate, some giant manor in Martha's Vineyard or something, like $14 million. I just read today. Obama is he taking that Netflix money and cashing in. It's interesting for sure. I mean, those are the things that I think it was the founding fathers writing about how dangerous it was for people to go seek fame and fortune, as being representatives of the government rather than going and serving constituents. And they were absolutely right about it. And that was hundreds of years ago when they predicted it.
Jimmy Carter and George Bush, neither one of them really cashed in on their fame. They make a few speeches here and there, but they're not doing what Obama and Biden have done and most Democrats have done. Clinton did it, obviously. Right. With the Clinton Foundation and other things he's done. He's cashed in a big way. I think that's very telling. It should be a huge footnote to their legacy.
All right. Well, hey, Ron, we're going to let you bounce, and we're going to talk to you next week. You can read Ron's stuff, the nationally syndicated columnist Ron Hart. You can read him online. Just Google Ron Hart, and he's usually the first guy who comes up, and you can track down his weekly columns there on the Google machine. Coming up, we've got headlines from around the Mid-South and around the world, and we do that on the News Cruise. It's next, right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
CBS News Update. Southern California authorities believe they have thwarted another mass shooting, arresting a Marriott hotel cook who apparently had a beef with the company. Long Beach Police Chief Robert Luna.
I am here to announce the arrest of 37-year-old Rodolfo Montoya in connection with the threat of violence to the airport Marriott. A concerned hotel employee notified our department about a threat made by Montoya on Monday.
CBS's Jerika Duncan has more.
Montoya basically told a coworker Monday he planned to come into work and shoot everybody he saw at the hotel because of a so-called human resources issue. Well, that coworker notified Long Beach police, who the next day arrested Montoya at the RV where he lives and confiscated an arsenal of weapons.
Montoya is being held on suspicion of making, possessing, and distributing assault weapons and making criminal threats. CBS News Update, I'm Pam Coulter.
Live from Memphis, it's the Eye on Memphis show with host Betty Lamar. Eye on Memphis is wall-to-wall conversations featuring top doctors and community leaders monitoring social disparities in healthcare. Eye on Memphis with Betty Lamar on KWAM The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990. Saturdays at 12 noon. Sponsored in part by AM Diabetes and Endocrinology Center in Bartlett.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m. and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Visit tnema.org and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, and the Ad Council.
I talk with healthcare professionals to bring you the latest wellness information Tuesdays and Thursdays on Live Life Well. Listen in and get tips like this to help you get started on your road to wellness.
You have to commit to seeing what you've been doing, taking ownership of what hasn't been working, and committing to make a change. Because a lifestyle change is something that you're going to have to work at.
I'm Bernadette Davis, and I've got you covered every Tuesday and Thursday on Live Life Well. Listen in during the Mary Beth Conley Show on AM 990 and streaming live on KWAMTheVoice.com.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
This is Clark Howard with our continuing series on how the trade conflict with China may affect you and your wallet. It's been a really moving target with Christmas, and now we have tariffs broken into 3 categories for this year's Christmas season. The president has now done a carve-out for a lot of items that people closely comparison shop, particularly electronics, some cell phones, will no longer be subject to tariffs for this Christmas season. Clothing, many other items, still will have tariffs on them this Christmas season. And there was an analysis I just saw in the Wall Street Journal that women's clothing is a category that's going to be affected more than any other category, with significantly higher prices potentially for Christmas shopping. So this may be a year not to buy anybody clothes as a gift.
The backyard's looking great, Rob.
Thanks, man. I was planning on adding a deck, too. Know any good contractors?
Why don't you just ask Home Advisor?
Home what?
HomeAdvisor.com. You just tell them about your project and they match you with local pros that can do the job.
Nice. Now, how much does it cost?
Oh, Home Advisor's totally free to use. Plus, you can read customer reviews, check pricing, and book appointments for free.
What's the website again?
HomeAdvisor.com. Or just download the free Home Advisor app.
Home Advisor.
Hey.
Hey, Bench, what are you doing?
I'm rubbing my Blue Emu on.
Were you ready to go fishing?
Fishing?
You said we were going fishing this morning.
I have 10 Gold Glove awards.
Oh, here we go again.
Johnny Bench doesn't go fishing.
Yeah, I know.
Johnny Bench goes catching. Blue Emu supports healthy muscles and joints. Blue Emu. It works fast and you won't stink. Available at nationwide retailers and Amazon.
All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. I'm 2/3 done with the Rubik's Cube. Had a little hiccup there. Had to figure out how to put some corners back in the right spot, but I'm okay. I'm all right. Multitasking today in the Nation of Jake. Plenty of headlines to get to. We do that in the news cruise. It's a boat. It's supposed to be relaxing. It rarely is, but we'll do it anyway. It's brought to you by Just Windows Home Services. News. 751-3934.
Exciting and new.
Windows, chandeliers, blinds, ceiling fans, gutters.
We're expecting you.
How do you think we keep the boat so clean?
The news cruise.
Woo!
Full of exciting news. And kick off your shoes.
All right, welcome aboard the news cruise. Once again, Just Windows Home Services. Call those guys if you need them to clean your windows or pressure wash, clean out your gutters, clean off your roof. Any of that stuff you need done around the house, you call them, they'll come do it for 20% off. That's right, they'll give you a free estimate and they'll take 20% off if you tell them you heard about Just Windows on the Nation of Jake. 751-3934. Again, 751-3934. Online, justwindowsmemphis.com. Oh, man, did you hear about this? This is scary. Oh. Memphis Park testing for toxic algae after unconfirmed reports of dog deaths at Shelby Farms. What? Shelby Farms Park said it's been unable to verify reports that 2 canine fatalities that allegedly occurred after exposure to the lake in the Outback Dog Park within Shelby Farms. Now, Shelby Farms has a couple different lakes. They got Hyde Lake, which is the big one, and then they've got a smaller lake at the dog park. The park also said they are awaiting lab results from tests of the water at the dog park. There's a Facebook post claiming 2 dogs died shortly after playing in the dog park lake at Shelby Farms. That went viral, prompting thousands of shares among anxious dog owners in a response from the park. The Facebook post claims 2 dogs died shortly after swimming in the Dogs Park Lake at Shelby Farms. A variety of responses from Memphians who said they would err on the side of caution and they'll keep their pets from playing in the dog park until more information was known. So I don't know if there's been any official word of this yet, but it seems as though the folks at Shelby Farms are taking all the precautions and they're doing all the tests to make sure that there's no toxic algae in the lake. UT microbiologist Stephen Wilhelm said he had been fielding inquiries this summer from concerned dog owners after evidence of waterborne toxins appeared in Knoxville. So, I mean, where's all this coming from? If we first heard about the toxic algae down on the Gulf Coast, they shut down a bunch of beaches. Now we're seeing it in lakes. I've read stories about dogs and people getting sick because of this stuff. I don't remember ever really hearing about this ever before in my life until now.
I had an extension doctor from Mississippi State University on last week talking about this.
Okay.
And what he told me was that the algae is always present. There's like 4,500,000 lakes in the United States, and all of them have this algae in one form or another year-round. But that it only becomes dangerous during the heat of the summer, which we're going through now.
Okay.
When these little algae kind of burst and they let the toxins that are inside there escape into the lake. He said if there's all this, and you've seen it on a lot of lakes, but mostly they're on lakes that are not don't have any wind movement, and this stuff actually covers the entire lake. He says, when you see it present, if you wouldn't go in there, don't let your dog go in there. If your dog does get in there, hose them off. Try not to let them drink it, but hose them off as quick as you can.
So this algae's got like latent toxins in it, and when it gets too hot, it releases those toxins. So I guess with some of the heat that we see over the summer, that's when it's more likely to occur. So hopefully, best case scenario that there was just a coincidence that the dogs died, or maybe it was heat related.
It can kill them.
No, I'm sure it can, but what I'm hoping is that there's none of the toxins in the lake.
Shelby Farm should test it though. So
yeah, they are.
Okay.
They are. Yeah.
And then once they know the degree of it, whether or not to put a ban on anybody getting in that water. I mean, it'll affect cattle, horses, any kind of life forms, even humans. So you just got to be aware of it and don't go diving in and drinking water that you're not familiar with.
Well, it's also this. It's not just the dog park over there. You got Hyde Lake, which people go in all the time. They go, they canoe, they kayak, stand-up paddle boards, swim. It's a pretty busy little area over there at Hyde Lake at Shelby Farms. And what I don't want to do is cause some sort of hysteria, some sort of panic. So I would just say, hey, let's wait and see what the tests say, and then make sure that we take precautions when we have all the information. Put it that way.
And that's what the doctor from Mississippi State said, that you don't want to panic over, be aware of it, but
Sure, be mindful, but just get all the information before you. Maybe err on the side of caution, definitely. But at the same time, don't go running around telling everybody that the lake is poisonous.
Don't go jump in the lake.
Don't go jump in the lake either.
Yeah.
Just let cooler heads prevail here. The Lorenzen Wright case, Billy Ray Turner. It turns out that he was in court today, and now they have postponed his September 16th trial date because additional evidence, was recently turned over by prosecution, and the defense needs more time to review it. Now, Billy Ray Turner is not going anywhere because he is currently serving 5+ years of a 16-year sentence for unrelated gun charges. So I guess that has been postponed. Bluff City Law being filmed here around there. Jimmy Smits is making the media rounds. I saw Jimmy Smits with our Mayor Strickland the other day. They have gotten $1.4 million in tax breaks from the EDGE board. The Economic Development Growth Engine has come off $1.4 million in tax breaks for Bluff City Law. Everybody really wants this to be a successful show. They want it to have a run like Nashville did on ABC. because that was kind of a game changer for the city of Nashville.
Oh, absolutely. Look at the growth spurt it went into when that show first began, just because people saw Nashville, what it looked like now.
And it was a big-time show. What you don't want is a repeat of Memphis Beat. That was, I believe, on USA or TNT. It really was a terrible show, and it wasn't even filmed here. You know, you want something with Memphis's name on it being the Bluff City to be filmed in Memphis. You know, we've gone over this before, but they are getting some more incentives, $1.4 million. You know what? People are okay with it, I think. You know, there's a group of people out there who seem to think that tax breaks is money that you have.
Yeah.
No, tax breaks is not like a check being cut to someone. I'm all in favor of tax breaks and incentives because it's not money that is being cut and coming out of the taxpayers' pockets. It's like that whole thing with Amazon up in New York. AOC was saying, what, we're giving them $3 billion in incentives? We can use that $3 billion to repair our subway. And it's like, well, no, you can't.
But that's her total stupidity.
Well, you're right. She just doesn't know how it works. It's like saying, hey, we'd like to use this coupon. Say, no, you can't use that coupon. That's a $5 off coupon. Get bent. And then chase somebody off for trying to use the coupon and then telling your boss that you saved $5. And you didn't. You chased off whatever investment was coming into your business. So the Germantowners, folks out my way, they are tired of all the flooding. You know, there was a pop-up shower, pretty intense thunderstorm night before last, and the drainage in Germantown couldn't handle that much that quickly, and there was some overflowing in some streets and some yards, and those folks in Germantown just had all that flooding. They're sick of it, man. They need a long-term solution for the flooding out there. So you know that old Mayor Mike Palazzolo is going to hear about it because that's a big deal. People are sick of the draining not doing what it's supposed to do. A few other things here on the news cruise, and then we will go to port. Democratic Washington Governor Jay Inslee has suspended his presidential campaign. He says suspended, but he's ended it. Nobody was going to vote for Inslee. I was shocked that I actually, here in the Mid-South, I saw a Jay Inslee bumper sticker. He had no shot. He wasted your time. He's not a viable candidate, really, for anything. So congratulations, I guess. And you know what? We're going to leave it there. And I've got, before we wrap things up and get you set up for Earl Farrell, I do want to tell you about some rebranding that they're doing in the great city of San Francisco. They are actually rebranding their criminals to give them, I guess, just a fresh look on life. Rebranding of criminals, that's coming up next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, stop. Don't do anything until you talk to my man, James Underwood. James Underwood has been helping people like you navigate the Mid-South real estate market for more than a decade. So whether you're looking to buy your first home or you want to upgrade to your forever home, James Underwood can help make it happen. No gimmicks, no guarantees, just a rock-solid guy that I've known for 25 years. So now, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, hit up James Underwood with CryLike. JamesUnderwood.CryLike.com. That's JamesUnderwood.CryLike.com.
This is Andy Wise, your consumer investigator, and I belong to the Crescent Club. All my Wise choices gather at the Crescent Club for mixers and private dining. The gourmet menu, top shelf. And happy hour? Hey, if you've never had a cocktail 9 stories high on the patio soaking in the East Memphis skyline, then hear this. I won't entertain my clients anywhere else because I made the wise choice. I belong to the Crescent Club, 6075 Poplar Avenue on top of the Crescent Center.
If you're thinking about retirement, you've got to know it's all about income. Your money making money. The Retirement Income Doctor wants to teach you how it's done. Give us a call and we'll send you a free animated video kit. 848-2-INCOME. 848-2-INCOME. And tune us in, the Retirement Income Doctor, Saturday mornings at 10. Call now for your free income kit. 848-2-INCOME. 848-2-INCOME.
You and your friends and associates are invited to attend the Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair, Thursday, September 19th from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Brown Missionary Baptist Church, located at 7200 Swinia Road in South Haven, Mississippi. There will be health exams, flu shots, entertainment, and this year, there'll be food trucks on site to allow you to enjoy lunch while you're there, and a demonstration on healthy living by the Silver Sneakers. The Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair is promoted by the DeSoto Times and the Best Times. Mark your calendar for September 19th. You'll be glad you did.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake is on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. I just want to let you know, guys, today, I told you it was going to be a weird show. I told you there was no saga. All right, usually I got a saga. All right, the news cycle takes care of me on most days, but today it was all disjointed. And this show is really, it's just a reflection of life. At least that's how I've planned it to be. And I was also distracted the entire show by my Rubik's Cube, which I'm going to nail this thing. I always get hung up. And here's the thing about when you do a Rubik's Cube, there are many, many steps and many, many maneuvers and many, many algorithms. And if you do one wrong, there's no going back. There's no fixing it. And you have to start all over again. So I want to get to the point where I can just do it, without even looking, and just in conversation. Just here you go. Hand a kid back there Rubik's Cube, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're amazing!" It's really just a party trick that I always wanted to do. All right, before we set you up with the Earl Farrell program in less than 10 minutes from now, I do want to tell you about some rebranding that they are doing. From time to time, a company will rebrand, or people rebrand all the time. Actors rebrand. Sometimes you've got like a Mark Wahlberg. Marky Mark was, part of the Funky Bunch for a long time. He beat up that Vietnamese guy, and he went to jail. So he was kind of a bad boy, but then he becomes, an actor, a serious actor. Mark Wahlberg. Not Marky Mark. He's Mark Wahlberg, right? Yeah, people get branded all the time. Johnny Football. Johnny Manziel. He decided he wanted to rebrand as John Manziel. But Football John wasn't working, so he went back to Johnny. So rebranding happens all over the place. Hell, Catfish Cabin. Just talked about Catfish Cabin yesterday. New ownership, they're going to call it Bell's Catfish and Soul Food. So it's rebranding everywhere all around us. Well, the city of San Francisco is getting real creative with their rebranding. Crime-ridden San Francisco has introduced new sanitized language for criminals, getting rid of words such as offender and addict, while changing convicted felon to justice-involved person. That's right, a convicted felon in San Francisco will no longer be a convicted felon. At least that won't be the preferred nomenclature. It will be justice-involved person, which does not tell you anything about what their experience has been.
Convicted felon. We all know. Justice-involved person. But Superman is a justice-involved person. Hell, he's just leader of the Justice League, right? And that doesn't tell you. Here we go. Juvenile delinquent will now be called young person with young person with justice system involvement, or a young person impacted by the juvenile justice system. Oh my! That doesn't even tell you anything. A juvenile delinquent. That puts it on them. It's like you're juvenile, you're young, and you're delinquent. Now, calling them young person impacted by the juvenile justice system, that makes it sound like they were just standing around minding their own business and they were impacted by this unfair system that made them be delinquent. It's so silly. And when they want to change manhole to person hole or maintenance hole or whatever. Everybody, Earl's right. When you say this kind of stuff is sanitized language, there's a reason you're sanitizing it. Because you're dirty.
KWAM, your news and information station with CBS News updates every hour on the hour. KWAM Memphis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans.
I'm Pam Coulter. A disgruntled Marriott hotel cook is being held on charges of threatening a mass shooting in Long Beach, California. Police Chief Robert Luna says 37-year-old Rodolfo Montoya had a huge cache of weapons.
A search of the suspect's residence in the city of Huntington Beach led to the...
My name is Rodolfo Montoya. You killed my father.
As well as tactical gear,
It's where it usually is. I forgot to use it today.
which are illegal to possess.
Wait, did yeah, I didn't use it today. I forgot because I'm stupid. So for the first half of my show, the first two